Hello everyone, Counterspell Hater here, back with another EDH guide. Uh, Still no new like Magic the Gathering stuff, so we're still going back in time. So today we're looking at Prosper Tomebound. This is kind of an upgraded version of our last video. Much better commander, I'll definitely say. So what is this about? Well, this is about us playing cards from exile to create treasure tokens in exchange, so we can play more cards from exile and do it all over again. So with that said, please like and subscribe. We're only one subscriber away from 25 subscribers, but I encourage you all to subscribe regardless of how many subscribers we have. Shows me how much you care. And please comment on this video if you're the first one. You know the deal. Type in the name of the commander you want to see next, and I will fulfill my end of the bargain and dedicate a future episode to said commander. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of these videos. And share my video along with this video and other videos on my channel with other people. With that said, let's get into it. First, we have Quakebringer to prevent our opponents from gaining life and to slowly whittle away at their life total. Untitled Primal Storm, just a really scary creature. Once we get this out, because this can allow us to cast things from exile for free. And that's exactly what Prosper wants. Stolen strategy, giving us multiple options, beginning of our upkeep. Well, at least until end of the turn. Outpost Siege. We can use this to do what our commander wants, which is to play stuff from exile, or we can choose dragons, which whenever a creature we control leaves the battlefield, this will end up dealing 1 damage to a creature or player. So this is flexible. Stormkirk, Oculist, no, Occultist. I have no idea. Once again, exile cards from the top of our library. And Madness, so we can cast this for an even cheaper cost of 2 mana rather than 3. And if our commander's out, we'll be able to get a treasure from it. Soulfire Eruption is in here to deal a bunch of damage, like eliminate threats such as like creatures, planeswalkers, and even possibly kill someone or finish people off. Meanwhile, allowing us to exile a bunch of cards and allow us to play said exile cards from the top of our library until our next turn effect. So this benefits us in all sorts of ways. Furious Rise, we definitely will have a creature with power 4 or greater. In which case, at the beginning of our end step, we will exile the top card of our library and be able to play that card until we exile another card with Furious Rise. Apex of Power is in here just to kind of for mana fixing, but not really. But more so the fact that it exiles the top 7, and until the turn we can cast spells from among them, and that it gives us 10 mana of any one color is amazing. Ardent Dust Speaker. This allows us to cast instant and or sorcery cards from our graveyard. Well, actually, no, not really. Allows us to make use of our graveyard by putting instants and sorceries from our graveyard up into the bottom of our library. And as a result, we exile the top 2 cards for our library and are able to play those cards this time. Communion with Lava, excellent spell in this deck, considering it has next cost, and that can be fueled by the treasures we create. and which would then allow us to exile the top X cards of the library and be able to play those cards until our next turn, giving us opportunity for even more treasure or just as much, meanwhile allowing us to develop a better board. Either way, Jessica's Will to give us a bunch of mana and once again exile cards from the top of our library. Chandra, Torch of Defiance to deal damage, add mana, and her ultimate can really be damaging, so that's why she's in here. Chaos Wand, is just it's a great card. It allows us to get a free sorcery spell off of our opponents from within their deck, and it could be beneficial in many ways. Who knows? Draugr Necromancer. This allows us to not only play cards from exile, but more specifically play cards that used to be under our opponent's control, but now in this case are not, since we are casting them on our side of the board. Because when a creature on opponent control, because if a non-token creature on opponent controls would die, it is exiled instead with an ice counter on it. And as long as it has an ice counter on it, we can cast that spell from exile and spend mana from snow sources as lower mana of any color to cast those spells. So maybe remember to put in snowlands, a few, or make all your basics snowlands. It's your choice. Tectonic Giant is another flexible card, and it can trigger multiple times because its ability triggers when it attacks, and or when it becomes the target of a spell an opponent controls. So, in which case, if 5 of those happen, we can have it deal 3 damage to each opponent, or exile the top 2 cards of our library and choose one of them until in turn we can play that card. So very flexible, appropriate for this deck. Lalia, the Blade Reforged, nice hasty attacker. Since we're exiling so many cards, this will get buffed up, and when it attacks, it also exiles the top card of our library, and we can play that card this turn, buffing her up even more that time. Conspiracy Theorist. So this is for when we end up having to discard cards, in which case if we do, we may exile one of the many that we discard, and if we do, we can cast it this turn. That would be like on the instant if it's an instant or sorcery, well, an instant really. But we can also, but if we have to discard for like certain costs, then this is a great card to have in this deck. Volcanic Torrent, Cascade. This is a nice card, can wipe the board because it deals damage equal to the number of spells we have cast this turn. And because of the nature of this deck, we'll be probably casting a decent amount of spells within a turn. And because this has Cascade and Cascade resolves before this, we'll have cast like probably more than 2 spells, because you count this and then whatever you get from Cascade off of this. Theater of Horrors, since we're dealing a bunch of damage and we want to exile cards, this kind of combines the two. So this can deal damage to target opponent or planeswalker. And during our turn, if an opponent lost life this turn, we can play cards exile with Theater of Horrors, and at the beginning of our upkeep, we exile the top card of our library. Ravgon, Nimble Pilferer. This helps us create more treasure and play even more cards to create more treasure with our commander. A dash cost, so this can get in early. and create treasures for us in the early game. Good either way, late game, early game, mid game, benefits us in a lot of ways. Opposition agent. This is very controlling, very flexible because it has flash, and definitely one of a kind because you control your opponents while they're searching their libraries. And while an opponent is searching their library, they exile each card they find. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and you may spend mana as though mana of any color to cast them. This means if your opponent finds Cyclonic Rift, that's your Cyclonic Rift now. If they find Rise of the Dark Realms, that's your Rise of the Dark Realms now. Bergie got a storytelling on one side. For one, we're casting our spells, help us with mana. And if we have creatures that can boast at all, they can boast twice rather than once. But more importantly, on the other side, we have Hornfell, Horn of Bounty. So we can discard cards to it to allow us to exile cards from the top of our library and play those cards. So if something in our hand is useless, like lands that we don't need, we can just exile. We can discard them. Archfiend of Spite, just for its madness cost, and to not to swing the attention away from us, but kind of make us more scary. It's in here for the madness cost, and this can really punish someone if they deal damage to Archfiend of Spite. Karn, Scion of Urza. He's in here for mostly his +1 ability. The Thoughty Voidwalker. Shadow makes this pretty hard to block, and mostly unblockable in most cases. And it prevents, not prevents, just straight up puts like graveyard plans to a halt, like green-black players and all that who like commanders who benefit from the graveyard can't for as long as this is around, because if something would be put into an opponent's graveyard, it's exiled instead with a void counter on it. And then we can sacrifice the Thoughty Voidwalker to choose one of those cards that has a void counter on it, and we can play that card without paying its mana cost. Fiend of the Shadows, some nice flyer, 3/3. Well, you know the deal. There's not much to this except the exile part. But however, unlike most cards in here, we can play that card as long as it remains exiled. I will say that. Valkai, God of Lies on one side. This can get something useful out of an opponent's hand. And Valkai can turn into it. Or we have Tibalt, Cosmic Imposter, which is what we're really after, because as he enters the battle, we get an emblem that allows us to play cards exile with Tibalt, Cosmic Imposter, and spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. And all of his abilities just exile stuff. The +2 exiles the top card of each player's library. The -3 exiles artifact or creature. And -8 exiles all cards from all graveyards and adds triple red to our mana pool. This could essentially be a win condition. Volcanic Exploration can deal a lot of damage and allows us to play a lot of cards, and it allows us to utilize lands. It's kind of a crucial part of our deck. It's a crucial part of any deck, really. Crackle with Power. So now we've gotten to more of the synergies. So Crackle with Power, since we're producing so many treasures, we may not know what to do with it. So we'll just spend it all in We'll just put it all into Crackle with Power. Fireball someone for God knows how much damage and call it a day. Mayhem Devil. Since we have treasures and those treasures sacrifice themselves to produce mana, this will be dealing damage to any target we please. Sword of Feast and Famine to help us with lands, really. Squeed the Immortal, for mostly for the cards that say until end of turn, you can play that card. But Squee is a different case. We can play him from exile or from the graveyard. So this can allow us to get multiple treasures. Runaway Steamkin, since we're red, also help us with mana. Revel in Riches as a win condition. Academy Manufacturer to create us clues and foods as we're creating our treasure tokens as well. Grim Hireling to possibly kill something because by using our treasures and make us even more treasures. Goldspan Dragon to double up the amount of mana produced by our treasures and to make us treasures as well. Captain Lannery Storm for when we sacrifice treasures. It can become a big creature. Also make us more. Zorn to make us even more treasure. Essentially this doubles up the amount of treasures we produce when we cast stuff from exile and our commander triggers. Predator's Hour, possibly a win condition due to it giving our creatures haste, and they also gain everything quoted in the text. And because of that, that could find us like a win condition or like something that could just end the game after combat, or seal the game forever. In Garrick's Wake, just a board wipe, very one-sided, because it's only going in our opponent's direction, not everyone's. So we're going to be the only ones around with a board at that time. Sepulchral Primordial can really propel us far into the game. This is just one card that we want to play from exile. Literally, the Dark Realms help us mostly in here to help us with mana if we get to our -6. Can also help us by searching for swamps and killing creatures or buffing up our own. Herald of Leashrock, once again, lands because we're not green, so we have a problem with ramping, kind of. Vorpal Sword, great equipment, more than anything a win condition. Nadir, since we're sacrificing treasures or whenever our tokens leave the battlefield, and can also create us an army in a hurry. Bolas the Citadel, if we don't really have anything we can do with our treasures, we can play this and then we can tap this, and if we have like the instance, we have like probably a whole bunch of treasures lying around at that time, just sacrifice 10 of them. Look, each opponent has suddenly lost 10 life. Wins the game. Altar of the Brood to mill whenever stuff enters the battlefield under our control. Aetherflux Reservoir to help us gain life and be a possible win condition or just zap someone. Then we have Spine Rock Knoll, you know why it's in here. Myriad Landscape for ramp, and then our mountains and our swamps. And with that, the end of this Commander Guide starring Prosper Tonebound. Like I said, game view. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Hit the notification bell that way you don't miss any more of my videos. Share this video along with other videos with others. Other videos on my channel, I should say. And don't forget commenting. I like feedback. I've kind of been missing it. It's been a bit, so I'd like to see that again. I like hearing from you guys, like what I did right, what I did wrong. Go watch my other videos. I encourage that. I like to see the view count keep going up. Like Light Pause is at 140 views. I like that number to keep going up, just like my subscribers. Oh yeah, and as you're commenting, if you're the first one to comment on this video, then you know the deal. Just type in the name of the commander, and I will uphold my end of the bargain and dedicate a future episode to said commander. And with that said, that is it. Goodbye.